the end of the video because that, you know,
What is up, everyone? My name is Kravac. Welcome to another stream. And this one here, we are going to be doing something just a little bit different in that we're not really playing the game, but I came across a couple of mods that I wanted to show you guys that I felt made the game more colorful, as it were. So, to get started, I'm going to be using a couple of mods in this game, and I'll go over them and everything, and we'll get them plugged in, you know, loaded up and all that. But before we do, there's a couple things that we need to do, or at least one thing that we need to do, and that is, in your game settings, you need to go down here to Options, click on Options, click on Graphics, and then in this list down here, at the very bottom, it says Enable Post-Processing, and we need to make sure that is turned on. Now, I know this isn't possible for everyone, but keep in mind, I'm using a 4060, so I'm able to kind of, you know, do a lot of other things. And I know that some people don't have computers that can run or graphics cards that operate very well and give you the best frame rates and such with post-processing enabled. So I am aware of that, but I still wanted to show these mods because they're really great mods. And we're going to load in right here, and you can see I've got some stuff going on. And we're going to go into the settings, and we're going to look at the mods real quick. Now, right now, all I have is sneaky sounds, just in case we fire up a tool by accident or what have you. And I don't want it to just blare everybody's ears, so... right now, that's all we got loaded in, and we're going to go in and we're just going to kind of take a look at the default game, just to kind of remind everybody of, you know, what it looks like, and just in case they don't remember. So, we are in creative mode, and we are on the Earth-like planet with the pre-built structures and things of that nature all engaged and turned on. And if we have a look around, one of the first things I noticed when I started playing Space Engineers was the vignetting. And if you're not familiar with what vignetting is, it's if you look in the corners of the screen, you'll see that they're slightly darker and a little shadowy and kind of hazy. And I imagine that Keen stuck this vignetting in to kind of simulate maybe the edges of the visor on your helmet, right? So kind of look around, kind of simulate the, you know, that look. However, we don't always have our visor up. Sometimes it's down, and we kind of don't need that vignetting, I don't think. So one of the mods that we're going to look at today is going to help remove that. The other thing is while the colors are, I don't know, natural, I guess. I don't really know. They're kind of blandish, in my opinion. And then, of course, we have these block edges, right? So pretty much anytime there's a set of blocks, or you use different blocks, or you use different material or textures to the blocks. In the base game, you always kind of get these edges. Now, Keen has resolved some of this. There are no armor edge blocks. They call it weldless armor in the game. So here's one right here, and let's pull one up. So if we take a look at it, this is kind of what it looks like, and if we drop it down right there, it's not supposed to have armor edges, but it does. So, I don't know that I'd call that weldless. On the other hand, I may not have, did I select the block? There we go. Let's do that. Now let's do it. Yeah, see, they're still there. Not much you can do about it. So one of the mods we're going to talk about today is going to get rid of that. Let's see. Another mod that we're going to talk about is also going to, it kind of brings together a couple of different mods. One, it's going to clean up your view a little bit. The other thing it's going to do is adjust some of the vibrance and saturation of the game. It's going to clean up your screen. So if you're used to using mods like Whiplash's Screen Gunk Be Gone or something along those lines, this mod's going to kind of do that and a few additional things. Let's head inside the building here. One of the things about Space Engineers is shadows. Now, there's not a whole lot that can be done with the way shadows are rendered per se. You know, I mean, they are what they are. They're baked into the game. But there are things that can be done to kind of improve them, make them a little bit lighter or a little bit darker, change some of the highlighting in the game, and different ways to give us some better reflections and things of that nature. And we're going to be discussing that with some of the mods as well. So this is the interior of this structure right here. And I chose this because, you know, it has the skylights in it, right? And then it has regular natural light. And if you look around, kind of the light coming through the glass, right? It's very hard. It's harsh, I guess is the way to put it. And you don't get the feeling that there's a lot of bouncing around of light. And anybody who has played the conventional or the base game knows that one of the hardest things to do in this game is to get light to go where you want it without going where you don't want it. You typically see that with when you place a light source. Sometimes the light source will shine behind a block, or it will shine through a block or something like that. And you don't get a whole lot of reflection and deflection of light sources, including the sun. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at there. And then we're also going to be taking a look at reflections in the game. Now, if we look here, we can see the reflections kind of coming through the glass, right? So we're looking at this box right here, reflected in the glass, and I guess the coating or the dirtiness of the glass, you know, kind of it adds a little bit of atmosphere to it, right? Because I mean, if you got dirty glass, you might still get a reflection, but it's kind of iffy. So we're going to look at how the mods are going to change this stuff as well. And with that, I'm also going to show you a couple of alternative mods, or not necessarily alternatives, but additional mods that you could add or switch around as you so desire, that add some things, but I have a hard time playing with them because they make some changes that I'm just not, I don't know, okay with. Now, let's bring up some nighttime stuff here. Oh, maybe that's not dark enough. Let's go over here, take a look. Pull this back a little bit. There. All right, so this is the base game skybox and everything. And if we look here in the glass, we can see the reflections of the stars and clouds and things of that nature, which all add some ambiance to the game and everything. But one of the things you will notice is it's not too terribly dark out, right? So, you know, I mean, the sky's really kind of bright and everything. And I'm sure there's some reasons why Keen made those decisions in regards to that. But myself and a lot of other players that I know kind of like it to be darker, and for the overall game at night to not be so bright. It's great for streaming because YouTube and Twitch and everybody, whenever you stream, they seem to darken everything up, or even when you upload content, so you have to, you know, kind of play around with it. And then we're going to look right here at these lights. So these kind of have a yellow glow to them, which you can do in the base game by just adjusting the settings of the lights. But look in the corners there where the lights are kind of reflecting. Right here, down in here, and down in here. We're going to look at how these mods change some of that. So let's pop back out of here and go into our load game and get our mods. The first mod we're going to talk about is called Clean and Vibrant Post-Processing. So we're going to throw that in there like so and load the game back up. Now, Clean and Vibrant Post-Processing is a mod by Salvador. The links to everything, of course, are going to be in the description below. But right off the bat, here in the daytime, we can see this mod does quite a bit. For one, it very much lightens everything up, right? It also adds a lot of saturation, or not saturation, more vibrance to the colors in the game. He did increase it a little bit, and then in the mod, he also decreased saturation. Additionally, he removed the screen junk, and if you notice, in the upper corners, there's no more vignetting. So he removed that as well. One of the side effects, I guess, of how he did his mod and the changes that he made is if you look at the textures in the blocks, you can kind of see more of the lighter textures than before, but the downside is some of the darker textures aren't as dark. So while there's a lot of positives, there are kind of some negatives with it. It doesn't really touch shadows all that much, and it doesn't really touch reflections or anything like that. But overall, I would say it's a good mod because it does kind of increase that color and that vibrance. And if we have a walk outside, we can certainly see that in the detail in the sky. The blue is a little bit bluer. The same on these blocks over here. And the grays aren't as, I don't know, not washed, but they're just not, they're not as dull, I guess is the best way to put it. So overall, this mod, in my opinion, brings quite a bit to the game. There are some things I don't like about it. And one of the things is because of the dropping of the saturations and stuff of that nature, it also kind of changes the washing of the look, right? So there's in some ways, some things are a little bit duller than others, particularly in the darks. So like right here, the shadows aren't as dark where they should be darker, right? I mean, it's acceptable and it's okay, and most people wouldn't know it. I just have a background in photography, so I kind of notice these type of changes, these differences. But is it worth getting? Absolutely. I think it is, in my opinion. Oh, hold on, before we dip off, let's take a look and see how this affects night. So here we are inside the building. It's all nice and dark out. You can see that by having the by switching to nighttime and going in here, you can see that the colors coming off the lights are much more vibrant. I mean, that's what he changed. He changed the vibrancy. Zion, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you. But yes, so there's a lot more vibrance to the light. So for those of you who like to play around with the colors of the lights and stuff like that, I think you'll enjoy that additional, that little bit of extra that you get out of them. If you come over to some of the LCD stuff, I'm a little torn here. The vibrancy, to a degree, kind of makes this stuff, I don't want to say unreadable, but it makes it very glowy, right? The mod does reduce the bloom in the game, but it could probably go a little bit further when it comes to things like the touch pads and stuff like that. Same thing over here. You know, we're kind of a little bloomy on it and everything. Beta Space Engineers. You talk about the original, the one that you can still get through, what's the word I'm looking for? Steam? I don't even know if these mods would work with that version of Space Engineers, to be honest with you. Be interesting to try, though. But let's run outside here into the dark and let's have a look. You can see that the mod didn't do anything in terms of changing the skybox or making it darker or any of that. It didn't really change the reflections or anything like that. So this is just kind of a, I don't know, it just really affects colors. That's kind of what it does. The side effect is it affects shadows as well, so shadows aren't as dark. And when you lose shadow detail, right? And by shadows, I don't mean hard shadows like you would see with the sunlight. I mean soft shadows. Shadows that, you know, like this right here would be a soft shadow, right? Because it kind of falls in between these two light sources. But I think the mod kind of overdoes it in relation to the shadows itself. But otherwise, I think it's a great mod. Now, on the graphics side, the next mod that we're going to use is called Graphics Revamp. Now, there's two versions of this mod. One is with a skybox, one is without a skybox. People have different opinions on skyboxes. I'm going to use the one without a skybox, and we want to do it in this this load order right here. I think that some of the planets, particularly Pertam and Mars, that do have oranges, you know, in the environment, I think they're going to be much more vibrant and much brighter. And we'll probably hop over to some of those planets to take a look. Now, the next mod that we're popping in on real quick here is Graphics Revamped by Fizz. It's not that old of a mod. It's from last year. Was the last update, at least on the no skybox version. If you click on the link in the description to go to the no skybox version, in his description there, he has a link to the one with the skybox. So, this mod does a lot. A ton. Now, we left off in this room. You can see that it cleans up the bloom on the screens, right? On the LCDs. It cleans up the bloom very well. And then over here, this is less of a, it's so much of a light source, right? That when you're standing close to it like this, you kind of get that haze from a light over your screen. So I don't think it's that bad in that regard. It's almost like, you know, if you were standing in front of this in real life, you would kind of squint. It just seems like maybe the light is too bright, and that's probably not a thing that can be modded out just in an SBC file. It's probably something that has to be dug deeper into the game to resolve. Now, we are in the nighttime here. You might also notice that if you look along the ground here, there's no armor edges. So all the armor edges have been removed from the game. You'll also notice that the soft shadows are back. Much more prevalent than before. If you come back in here, you can see this soft shadow right here. Very much more into the game. And then let's head outside here. We're still nighttime. If you remember before, it's still not super dark outside, but it is darker than it was before. Not super dark, but darker than the base game, and certainly darker than the game with just the clean and vibrant mod. And then if we come over here, we can see we have some reflections that are more vibrant because of one mod, more saturated because of another mod, and overall I think it gives a better impression of bounce. All right. You know, you got this soft shadow right here. Clearly this light right here is coming from inside there. But overall, I think this looks pretty darn good. And then if we pop up here, we can still see our reflections, you know, or, well, not our reflections, but we can still see the reflection of the skybox and whatnot in the glass. Without all the frames, you know, the weld lines and stuff like that being involved. Let's turn it to daytime here. All right, here we are in the daytime. You can look at your engineer's shadow. If you look at my shadow there on the ground, you can see that there's kind of a hard area and then it buzzes out a little bit. That fuzziness is the soft shadow area, and that's the part that that most people will notice is missing. You're so used to seeing it all around you, in your house, out in nature. So when it's gone, you really miss it. But what you don't normally see with shadows is kind of a twofold shadow, right? So if you look at the shadow on the ground, you'll see that there's a much darker portion of that shadow, which is normal, but then there's a hard edge, and then it dithers out and softens. There's probably not really a way to fix it, but I certainly wish that there was, because you know, shadows just don't really work that way. If we come over here and we look at this shadow right here, it's wavy because the sun is actually in movement, but it dithers off fairly well, and when you get really close to it, you can see what I'm talking about with the lines. It's really just a limitation of the technology. The other thing that this mod is really good at is, if we look at the where the light is hitting the side of the structure here, you can see that it's really bright. But if we come over here on the other side, all right, it's not really dark, but it is certainly darker, and as you move closer, you'll notice that there aren't a lot of detail in the block, right? You can see some of the detail, like down in here and whatnot, but there's not a whole lot of detail. Ow! But coming over here in the direct light, there's even less. And this is really, really impressive. It's great work on the modders. There's even less detail in it. You get the glare off the block right there at the top. You know, and that glare kind of washes out that little darker section. So if you look at that left corner of the block, it's a little bit darker. Then as we move into it, that kind of goes away. So it adds a little bit of realism to the lighting and things of that nature. The shadows are a little bit darker here, but they're not, you know, they're not overly dark. It's not like, you know, I feel like it gives you a little bit of light bounce. Like, you know, you can imagine that this light here kind of bouncing through here a little bit and keeping these shadows from being too heavily darkened. And that's pretty much the banger for it right there, is those two mods. But you saw a screenshot. You saw the thumbnail. This is not... I'll show you where I took that thumbnail picture from. I took it from way over here. No, I didn't. I took it from over here. I took it from right here. The sun was a little bit different than it is, but this is not what is in the thumbnail, right? This look is not what's in the thumbnail. So there's two other mods that I also came across, and we're going to pop those in right now. The first one, and I'm just going to pop both of them in because they do two different things. They're from the same mod author, and they are called Space Engineers Enhanced Block Textures and Space Engineers Enhanced Voxel Textures. So we're going to pop those in. This is the load order that I've been putting these in, and they have seemed to have worked out just fine. Now those textures, between the two texture files, right, the two enhanced mods, they will bump your mod load way high. In this case, over 7 gigs. All right, so these mods are made by Deathfather. They're not old. They're relatively new, back in October or so. And now this is what the textures look like. If we go in and I mean, you gotta, it's phenomenal. It really is. Look on the floor blocks here. These right here, they kind of almost look like, I don't know, creases or maybe scratches, deep grooves in the paint or in the block that's been painted over. All of that stuff is added by this mod. If you look here, these deep, let's squat down. These deep grooves in the block. It's great work. It's fantastic work by the mod author. You look here on the side of these tanks, you've got the same thing. Some of them are just like, you know, paint scratches, which is there by default. But then, you know, you got what looks like deep grooves inside the paint. And I think, I just think it looks phenomenal. Coming outside, you can see it a little better here in these textures. Some of it kind of looks like it's more like, I don't know how to put it, like almost like it's a crushed texture, right? Or a crushed look. Like right here, it almost looks like ripples. Yeah, like furniture scrapes, right? And it's like, you know, you were moving, you know, you didn't get those little slidey things for underneath your underneath your furniture, and you just drug it across the floor and just scratch the hell out of your, your new metal floors. But this is what it looks like on these blocks. And I thought maybe what we could do is we could check out some other textures, right? So let's go with the battered armor and set that down and kind of take a look at it, right? I don't know, this kind of looks like it's got water stains all over it, like oil. This is something that you could probably see. I mean, they've always kind of had these streaks out of the fastener locations, but this kind of looks like something you could, possibly use on the side of an aircraft and kind of give it like, that look of streaking oil, or maybe even on a floor, because it kind of looks like, there's just all these oils and water stains all over the block. More so over here. And I don't know how far he went into this, but here is a carbon fiber block. Without comparing it directly to the originals, it'd be kind of hard to tell what all has and hasn't been done to the block. But I do like how these ridges right here, right, are cast in shadows. We come over here, you don't really see the shadows. You come over here, you don't see the shadows at all. But then over here, where the light's kind of hitting at an oblique angle, you really see the shadows on it. Let's see here. A block that everybody kind of... Look, everybody uses the frozen armor. Everybody uses it. So let's have a glance here. Okay, so like I get it, right? I even had this complaint in the original Frozen Armor. It's almost like the raised areas are supposed to be like little clumps of ice or whatever. But I have never felt like that. I've always felt like this would be more akin to concrete, right? Just poorly poured concrete, or maybe like a non-skid surface, something that you might pour in a not a driveway, but like for a porch or something like that, where you see people who they'll put sand or whatever in their paint and then roll the paint on so that they kind of get like a friction surface for when it is wintertime. And who knows, maybe that's what this is. But the frozen block has never looked very frozen to me. We just know that that's what it's supposed to be, and we accept it. And I guess the dust block is one that people commonly use. I use it a lot. Oh yeah, see now this right here. Yeah, see, I like this. Having done, yeah, I'll do the disco block. Having done the, the dust block in a lot of my builds, because I tend to spend a lot of time on Pertem and Mars and stuff like that, so I just think they're like relevant blocks. I feel like these textures look really good on here. Well, I say really good. If you're using it as a floor block, right, an outside floor block, then I could see this being a good texture because it kind of looks like there's sand on it or whatever. So, like if you had the block right here and it was a block that you walked on, right, it kind of looks sandy and stuff like that. But as a building block for other structures, yeah, probably not. All right, and then you said the disco block. I have to be honest, I've never used this block in a build, so I'm not familiar with it. But it does kind of look good. Let's get it over here in some light. And maybe, maybe we build a little floor out of it or something. Oops, I missed. All right. No, I kind of dig this block. I can see that it's reflecting some of the signs out there in the back behind me. As well as some yellow, presumably the stripe on the ground. Reflecting the sun. These are kind of cool blocks. These are more like bathroom tiles. Something I'd put in my bathroom, like little... Well, I wouldn't, because they're very 70s. But, yeah, they're kind of cool blocks. I don't know what I would use them to build. I don't know why I would use them to build, but, you know, like I said, I guess if you were doing like a bathroom or something like that, you could put these in there. They're kind of strange. But, you know, they're okay. They're not my style. They're not my style. Some other blocks I do like are the neon blocks. So let's have a look at those. Let's bring one inside. And we'll just slap it right there. Oh, that's very glassy. Very glassy. You see the reflections in it pretty darn well. All right, now, as promised, there was another mod. Oh, wait a minute. We need to go into nighttime with this one first. Y'all sidetracked me with the disco blocks. All right, so here we are in the nighttime, and we may have already covered this. I think we did, but I can't remember. So we'll just do it again. Yeah, we did cover it, because I had mentioned that it was a little bit darker with when you added in the graphics revamp. So let's pop out of here. And there's... Oh, maybe not. All right, rendering improved. What's up, Four Thank you very much for joining us. A new puppy, huh? Ugh. Good luck. Good luck. All right, so with rendering improved, we're going to try this in both coming in after graphics revamped and before graphics revamped. But one of the reasons I didn't use this mod was, well, kind of hard to explain, but with the rendering improved, I really, really, really felt like it just over brightened the sky. It did bring some other things with it that, you know, that were good, right? But I really felt like it over brightened the sky. And I don't know. I mean, like, that's kind of a realistic sky in terms of color and stuff, but on the flip side, it just seemed a little bit too light to me. The other thing that it changes is your eye adaptation. Adaptation. So when you go, like right here, you look at the yellow here, you can see that it's very vibrant and it's yellow. But when you look just through the door there, it almost looks like, well, it does look like a different color yellow, and it looks very washed. But then when you step outside, you know, the color comes back to it. It gets a little bit darker. You know, and that's kind of inherent in Space Engineers to begin with. But I just thought that this mod kind of overdone it. But they can all three be used together. You just have to make sure that the Clean and Vibrant mod is at the top of your load order when it comes to these graphics mods. Then we're going to switch into night here. Now, one of the things that Rendering Improved does do is it does make things much darker. It does change the skybox a little bit, or I believe it replaces it. I can't remember, and I don't have the details pulled up in front of me, but it does darken the sky up a little bit, and it certainly darkens everything around you outside. So it does, ouch, it does do that. And then when we get around the light sources and stuff like that, it brings them back down, right? So they're not as bright, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that because it kind of makes the light seem more realistic when it's not, you know, blaring all the way over here when it's just a little bitty light like that, right? And then inside, it does do a better job with shadows inside, making them from kind of a darker shadow here to a less darker shadow, right? So soften them out on the edges. And it kind of does a better job with it during the day too. Now, that said, Rendering Improved does require post-processing to be on as well. So if you want to use it with this setup, then absolutely. I don't really mind it, except for, like I said, you know, like, I just feel like it really, you know, we're standing right here, and with the sun shining down, it just kind of overly washes out the colors a little bit, in my opinion. Look, it's not it's, you know, this isn't written in stone, but, you know, just an opinion. Let's take a look at our block. That should have melted by now. Where the hell's the sun at? Right there? Yeah, I mean, you know, it looks good. Okay, so one thing that I will make a comment about, and I don't know if it's a keen issue or not. Look, I'm all for, you know, viewing the stars and whatnot, but damn it, not during the daytime. If you look at the reflection, you can clearly see the sun right there, and then it's surrounded by stars. I have never seen a piece of glass that was so good outside of multi-million-dollar or hundreds of millions of dollars of telescopes. I have never seen a piece of glass pick up the stars in a reflection during the daytime. I'm sorry. And I'm going to have to assume that this is a keen thing. Because this is not the only time I've seen it. It's not necessarily a mod issue. And to double check that, we'll cancel. Let's do this right here. Let's pull all these back out like so. Oh, no, it's not a keen thing. Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Now I just see spots on glass. It could be. It could be that those other mods, the clean, what is it? The clean and vibrant takes away the bloom on the glass on reflective surfaces. It reduces that bloom, and that may allow the skybox to shine through just a little bit. But however, without changing the skybox, I do find it kind of strange that I can see stars in the sky in the middle of the day. In fact, I can see stars around the sun, and that's also strange. So, you know, you take it for what it's worth. But there are quite a few mods out there that change the render, the colors and rendering. A couple of other ones is Magic Night, which is a great mod, but it does some really weird things. And I don't have it downloaded, or I'd show it to you. Oh, the hell with it. Let's do this. I'm going to show you what this this mod does. It's called Magic Night Space. Just got cinematic. And it does work funny with other mods. Particularly this. This is the mod by itself in the daytime. Everything is just ridiculously washed out. Right? And inside, it's not so bad, but man, outside, that's pretty rough right there. But one of the things it does do now, I have no skybox in. It has its own skybox. And look at this. On the ground, the reflection from these screens. And I think that is just, gives me goosey bumps. Right? And if I come up here close, it's not over blooming the screen or anything like that. I don't know how they're doing it, but it's fantastic. If you look now, I don't know, if you come back here, it kind of goes away a little bit. You know, you feel like it shouldn't matter. The light's still shining there. You'll be able to see it, but, you know, that is what it is. And then if we look at our disco blocks here, it's a phenomenal mod. You can see the green glow off the conveyors. I mean, in and of itself, it's great. When you come out here, it's dark outside. It's not all, you know, bright and stuff like that. Go back to daytime. But when you get out here, when you're looking straight out, the grass is, you know, it's darker. It's kind of fine. But then when you're looking down, it's very washed, you know, kind of a very washed out look. And that was kind of my problem with it. Even if we come over here, right? This is obviously white, and it looks like it's supposed to look here. But then when we get back over here to our grays, and you can see, and this is another thing, I feel like I'm putting off a yellow glow. So if we move forward, right, and my lights aren't on. I mean, these are on. That's off. And I feel like I'm putting out a yellow glow around me, right? So even if I come down here, you know, things kind of yellow up a little bit or get a little bit brighter during the daytime. If you watch the blocks above me, you know, so I don't know. I know that's not in the base game, so I don't know where, you know, what the mod is adjusting to make that happen. But other than that, you know, I really think the mod is a great mod. I just don't care for that washed out look. And the mod comes recommended from Shelfader in the Clean and Vibrant Post-Processing. In his description, he recommends the mod, and then down in the comments section, he mentions that you should put the mod before his. Right? So let's add that back like that. And take another gander. Maybe, just maybe. See, even with his mod added back in, you know, now it's the sky is definitely the wrong color, right? And everything is so bright and so very, very, very overwashed. But at nighttime, man, I love the reflections of these signs on the ground. I think that's brilliant. Maybe a little overdone, maybe. Probably ish. But I do love the, you know, the light reflecting off of these clearly metal blocks. Right? And then when we come out here, you know, again, you know, you don't see a yellow, like a yellow haze or anything. You don't feel like you're protruding, you know, like light is just emanating from you. And I mean, I suppose depending on your spacesuit, it could be like, you know, those jets burning my nutsack right there would certainly be protruding some light. But other than shadows, I've noticed that the engineers don't really affect the environment all that much. Now, I said we didn't. If we get up like this, you can see some yellow, but I just kind of assume that's from there. So that's kind of those mods right there. And come back in here and let's add graphics back in. No skybox. And our voxels and everything and take a look. All right, even with those other mods added in, the sky is the wrong color. Things are very very washed out outside. Inside, you can tell the mod definitely changes the look of like this metal texture. And I like that quite a bit. You know, it kind of gives it a, you know, more of a metal look, I guess. I don't want to say metal. That's not a word. Reflections in the glass. Again, if we come over here, we can see the reflection right there of that box and air vent. So inside, it looks great. Or mostly great. Outside, though, I really feel like it just gives everything kind of a washed out look. I don't like the sky. It's too teal for me. But yeah. And then we have one more mod that we're going to talk about. We've oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. We've already drilled some holes, and that was Space Engineers Enhanced Voxel Textures. Check it out, dude. That's dirt. Look at that. That's dirt. It's not what the dirt around my house looks like. Around my house, there's a lot of pebbles in it. Rocks. So, but in other places in the world, that's dirt. Then we come down here, that's silicon. Nice little reflections off the light. Completely different look. If we fly up, the one thing that mod does do when it comes to the voxels is you'll notice there's not, you don't see the dark marks on the ground, kind of indicating where the ores and stuff are. But if we go higher, and I mean way higher, now we can see them. So if you look right in there, right, that would all be ore and stuff in that general vicinity. If we come and have a gander over here, that's probably ore right in here. So we'll keep our little drill aimed on it as much as possible. And let's get our UI turned back on and see if there's any ore around here. Maybe not. Oh, no, never mind. False positive. But if we come over here where we did see a bunch of that, like if you're on a planet with a lot of gravity, you're gonna burn. You know, you're gonna burn through a lot of stuff. So, you know, definitely, you know, kind of cool. Let's just pull out a couple of things. So here's some cobalt ore. Get a big ass ball of it. So this is just kind of an example of the textures and stuff for that. What did I call it? Space Engineers Enhanced voxel textures. When you're drilling through, it also looks good. So, I mean, look, right down here, there's a little bit of difference in the dirt. So, yeah. I mean, like, I dig it. You know. And then, we got something. This is nickel, I believe. Let's take a sample. No, it's stone. Just look like it tricked me. So right here, you know, you've got this darker topsoil style than this this more brown dirt, and then we're down here into the stone or the bedrock layer. So I think those are great textures, if I have to be honest. And I try to be honest in these little reviews. The yellow haze is the green hue being turned up, probably, and under the base could be the reflection of the grass. I mean, I suppose, I mean, like, I know at night that green hue was coming directly from, or the green lighting was coming directly from the conveyors. But I don't know what the hell the grass would have been reflecting off of as I got close. I mean, part of it's eye adaptation, which is basically for the purposes of the game. We've kind of all seen this. If you look down at the ground right now, and we kind of get up a little bit like so, as we're moving out, you see the light moves ahead of us on the ground. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's that light moving out around us. I mean, it could very well be that. I don't know. I have to admit, I am not a Space Engineers graphics guru, but you know, I try. What is this supposed to be? Why is there just a patch of this laying around? I mean, it looks good. I like it. But why? Crop circles. All right, let's move on and take a look at a couple of other planets. Let's go to Alien first. It's a pretty good area right here. Look, the snow is reflective. Love it. Let me turn off the whole headlight there. Yeah, see, like, I like this. The voxel textures and everything. And on the alien planet, if the sky is kind of washed out or if the atmosphere seems hazy or washed out, you know, totally expected. You know, because it's an alien planet. The snow looks nice. Let's dig into it. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. It looks good. I didn't, when I was deciding to make this video, I hadn't really, well, I hadn't at all gone to the other planets, but, you know, this looks good. I like it. Now, we were saying that Mars could potentially, or even Pertam for that matter, could potentially be a little bit oranger. Well, I agree with the color thing, but it's on the alien planet. It's kind of hard to say a lot, right? It's an alien planet, so it could be anything to anybody. I would do shit. Slow down, man. I don't know. I'm gonna have to say that on Mars, I don't like it. I feel like it's more red and less orange. I don't feel like it's as, I don't know. Maybe not red as, it's more pink to me instead of like a rust colored. That said, I do like the atmosphere though. I do like the haziness over the atmosphere, or in the atmosphere, better than default. But in terms of the colors here, I think the texture looks great, right? But in terms of the colors themselves, yeah, not so much. Let's take a sample. Oh yeah. The textures are great. Not so impressed with the colors. But that said, let's do this. Because I really just feel like this Magic Night just kind of washes everything out too much. I mean, we need to be able to just turn mods on and off depending on whether the sun is up or down without having to leave the game. I know it's not possible because you got to reload them, but yeah, see these colors. Yeah, it's that Magic Nights mod that that really makes the changes. Let's go to Mars and take a look. Yeah, see, now I'm not going to say that this is absolutely color correct to Mars, but it is certainly less pink to me and more red. I'd have to do screenshots and do a side-by-side, but overall I would say this is better. That Magic Nights mod, just, it washes things out, in my humble opinion. Why the hell is there no Pertam here? What? Where's Pertam? Garbage. Garbage. Hogwash. there should be a per tam. Let's go to the moon. The moon's already washed out. All right. Oop, too far. Oh, you can fall faster than that. I love this. The moon looks very good with that texture mod. Very, very good. With the exception of like this little thing going on over here. I mean, it's a shadow thing. I don't think it's necessarily a texture thing. No, I guess that's, yeah. No, that's there. Not a texture or anything like that. It's just the, you know, the bumps in the deal. Casting shadows. All right, and one more just for shits and giggles. Let's go to an asteroid. Oops. Oops. Somebody forgot to turn their stuff on. Oh, you know what? We're in creative. It may not create asteroids. I mean, it should, but it probably doesn't. All right, well, then we'll just go to another. Let's go to Titan. Titan's orangey, yellow, red with ice. No. Slow your roll, man. Of course, I've always felt like Titan looked like Mars, only with frozen lakes. And smaller. And yeah, it still looks that way. Looks like Mars with frozen lakes. And then let's go to Europa. Big block of ice. All right. Yeah, I love this. The way the sun's reflecting off the ice right here. A little bit of a hazy atmosphere. The colors, the texture. Yeah, I think these mods have, I think they improve the game quite a bit. So, again, the mods that we're talking about today are clean and vibrant post-processing, graphics revamped. I'm using the no skybox version, but we can throw in the skybox version just so you can see it. And when you guys see, like, you know, sometimes during a stream, you know, you see the first few minutes of me loading into the game or whatever. Jesus, where am I at? I'm on the moon. Well, that's excellent because that means we can see the skybox without necessarily changing anything. So there you have it. There's a skybox. We'll go ahead and make it dark. And there's a skybox, at least on the moon. Let's head over to the night side. Shit, it's dark out here. But yeah, so here's the skybox at night on Earth. It's it's a great skybox. It is clearly the Milky Way, or at least a rendition of it. Let's head over here to this frozen lake and take a look at it. I was clearly much farther away than it looked in the dark. Oh, yeah, looks good. The reflections and so forth. Let's bring the sunlight up. I don't know, maybe kind of dark. But I do love the way the sun reflects off of it, particularly when you're flying over it. And look, oops. Okay. I mean, ice has always been pretty easy to find stuff on, but this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just screw that up with like, oh, maybe that's just a dark patch of ice. And then here's some of our voxels out here on the Earth-like. Look, the rocks have ridges. So, very cool mods from some great mod authors. And I'd like to do more of these, kind of showcase more mods and stuff like that. Maybe in a little bit shorter format, but I know it's been about a year since I did my last mod video. So I wanted to do this one here and showcase a couple of mods. It's not a lot, and it's not fancy in terms of the way I did the last one with screenshots and slideshows and all of that. I kind of wanted to do it in a live environment to give anybody who is viewing an opportunity to ask questions if they wanted to ask questions. So, that, as they say, is the show. I hope you remember to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the content, and I will see you in the next one. Everyone, have a great day. Bye-bye now.